Hello, hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tuvy, but everyone calls me Tuvy. And since you're on my channel, you can call me Tuvy as well. Thank you so much for those of you who are tuning back in. And for those of you who are new here, we make hair, lifestyle, and travel content. And in today's video, we will be finally tackling the former. I will be making hair content for you guys. And today's video specifically will be about how to take down braids. So we're talking about how to take down braids, how to do it in such a way where you're retaining length, how to not cut your hair while you're taking down braids, because trust me, believe me, I have made that mistake before. And you'll even see my hair also had its own struggles. It's not that, oh my goodness, you have such long natural hair, what do you do? That it means like I too have figured everything out, but like the little that I do know, I'd like to share with you guys so that we can go on this hair growth journey together. Or should I say, so we can grow on this natural hair journey together. I think I can coin that. So we can grow on this natural hair journey together. Because you know, get it? Double entendre, grow, but also grow. Okay, I'm rambling because I'm nervous, but let's get started. So I will be putting on my glasses for this next portion because I can't see without my glasses, and I do need my glasses so I can see what's going on. Please don't mind the reflection. But specifically, we're going to start with how to cut. Before we can get started though, I want to show you guys the tools that you're going to need for taking down your natural hair. First and foremost, you're going to need a pair of scissors. I use kitchen scissors because they're the sharp scissors we have at home. You're also going to need a plastic bag. Or shall I say a trash can, because this is specifically to put all the hair that you'll be removing and cutting off into. If you're going to throw it in a trash bag, just keep it nearby because you're going to need it in order to throw all your hair into after. And then also, you're going to need something sharp as well. I use toothpicks for this process. But you can use something like a rat tail comb, or like in Hero as we like to call it, okafo. It's basically a brush with a sharp end that you will be able to use in order to get in between each and every strand. So you're going to need something to get in between that strand so you can untangle it. And you're also going to need a hair tie. But before we get started, it is important to understand that hair extensions are not necessarily a part of your hair. So everyone who gets braided gets the extensions to make the hair longer, right? Some people choose to make the extensions longer than their natural hair. Other people choose to make extensions the exact same length. I'm really making this video as basic as possible because I also want people who are maybe dealing with natural hair for the first time to be able to understand what they're getting into and what it means to get braids, right? So let's say I got an extension that was only that long and my hair was about this short. If I was to unbraid and start all the way at the end of my extension, do you see how long it would take me to unbraid? So normally what we do, and this is why you need a pair of scissors for this part. Normally what we do for this part, you would take a hair tie and you would put all your hair away. So let's do that now. Up and out of the way. And we're basically doing this so that it's easier to be able to work in sections because it is a lot of hair. For those of you who probably got jumbo braids, I'm sure it's not that much work, but for someone like me who decided to go with a smaller braid, it is actually a lot of work I need to do in order to take down the hair. And so working in sections is just better, right? And then I would decide like, oh, I want to start with say back of my hair. So I would grab a few sections from the back of my hair. Let me just put the hair in a rough bun. So I would grab a few sections from the back of my hair, say that much. And I'm only doing a small section to show you guys how I do it. Normally I would grab a bigger section and I would actually be working in front of the line. So I grab a few strands of hair. Now, if I know my hair is about that short, say my natural hair is about that short, I would take the scissor and I'll cut it like, let's say maybe a few centimeters from where I know my hair is gonna end, right? Just to be sure, because the thing is, once your hair is braided, normally before they braid it, they also straighten it. So you don't necessarily want to aim for the shortest length possible. Rather, cut more hair than you know you're gonna need, because once you cut, you can't undo that. So in my instance, I know my hair in the back is pretty short from when I cut it off, but you should also have a mirror behind you, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I know my hair in the back is shorter, but to be safe, I'm gonna cut it the same length that I know roughly all of my hair in my head is. So I'm gonna cut it at, let's see, I'm gonna cut it right there. I know the first cut is normally the scariest. And to make sure you didn't cut off any of your own hair, what you can do is you take the hair strands that you cut off, and you can observe, specifically for someone who has colored braids, it's easy to see because my natural hair color is black and the braids are golden brown, so it's easy to see whether or not my own hair is in. And I noticed I didn't make any oopsies. I did in fact only cut off the extension, and then I go through my head doing the same exact thing. So I'm basically grabbing section by section. I'm going to see where my natural hair ends, or estimate, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of space, and then I'm going to cut right there. And so then you go through your head and you do this. For those of you who have the same color braids as your natural hair, what you want to do is do the guesstimation part. So let me just put this in black and white real quick. Okay, let's say this is your perspective. Your hair color and your braid color is the exact same color. You have no way of telling where your hair ends, but you probably remember, you should actually remember how long your hair was before you got braided. So you would take a section, let's say from the front, so I can show you guys, and you would remember, let's say you remember, oh, the last time I cut my hair, it was about shoulder length, and you would think, oh, let me cut it here. But again, remember what I said, it's better to give yourself space. It's better for you to have more hair to unbraid by cutting lower than cutting where the actual braid ends. I hope this is making sense. So let's say in this instance, my hair is all black. I don't know where my hair ends. And I remember, oh, I had a bob. So I would give a little bit of space and I would cut it right there. Again, checking to see if you have cut off any of your natural hair, because you can always adjust. Let's say if I noticed, oopsie, I cut off just a little bit of my natural hair, in the next section when I take it out, let's say I take out that much, I would be able to adjust and make it longer and maybe cut all the way down there. In this instance, my hair isn't that long, so I can get away with cutting it even shorter. Okay, so that's what you do in the instance that you are not sure where your hair ends, where your hair starts. Guys, it's also important to remember that as your hair is in braids, your hair is growing, so all of that, that's all new growth. And that means that where I think my hair was last time, I need to give it a bit of, should I say, like a grace cut? A grace period, but for length. You need to give it a bit of space. So if I guesstimated the last time my hair was here and I realize I have like a centimeter of growth, I'm going to estimate my hair is like a centimeter of growth. But then again, because better safe than sorry, you're going to go even lower and then cut right there. And that's how you cut your natural hair. So that's the first part you need to do before we can even get to the unbraiding, because once you do this, you know that you're eliminating unnecessary time in the takedown process. You also know that you're not wasting time unbraiding hair that doesn't belong to you, because if I am to unbraid any one of these knots, that would be great, better safe than sorry. But at the same time, I'm gonna be spending a lot of time doing this, and ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Before we get started on the actual taking down process, where I think I'll do a bit of a time lapse to show you guys what happens. But before we do that, I'd like to answer some questions. So the first question that I have seen or I have been asked the most is, how long does this usually take? For reference, I got box braids, medium length, but box size small. So it took me about 4 or 5 hours to get braided, but there were two ladies who were braiding me, and I'm gonna be the only one taking down my hair. So it typically takes me anywhere from 3 hours to like 6 hours to unbraid such a hairstyle. Again, the shorter your hair, the shorter time you will spend on taking down these braids, because you will be able to pick a hair out, let's say, and then you just cut it there, because your natural hair isn't going to be that long. And so to unbraid a short section like this won't take you as much time as it would take someone else, for example, who has really long hair, right? Secondly, should you wash your braids before or after takedown? Well, I think it just depends on what makes it easier for your personal hair care routine. Me personally, I prefer to work on unwashed hair and dry hair if I maybe did wash it, say a week before, whatever, because I moisturize my hair a lot. I moisturize my hair almost weekly, 2 times a week even, while they're in braids. And so my hair is very oily, and I don't prefer to have oily, wet hair to be handling in such a sensitive condition, because the hair process takes quite some time and it's a stressful thing, and you don't want to do it when you're not in the mood to do it. Guys, if you're not in the mood to do your natural hair, don't do it, because if you do it when you're not in the mood, you're going to be losing a lot, and I mean a lot of hair, because you're being really aggressive. You're going to be trying to take it down as fast as possible, or maybe like you're going through the motions or whatever, and you just don't feel like yourself. You need patience to be able to take down your braids. If you don't have patience, just do it another day. Rather lay your edges one more time, put mousse on your hair one more time, and just delay the takedown process, because unfortunately a lot of people lose hair in the takedown process, not even because you're not maintaining your hair while it's in braids, just because you weren't gentle when you were taking it down, and you're breaking off a lot of hair unnecessarily in the process. So please just be gentle and do it in a state that's least stressful to you, because our hair textures are all different, so different things might work for different people, right? But just take into consideration, you want to be in a good space, you want to be in a positive mindset. You don't want to be angry when you're doing this process. You also don't want to be in a bad mood when you're doing this process, okay? The next question is, can you use conditioner to take down braids? I have used conditioner in the past to take down braids. What I would normally do is I take a container, a spray bottle preferably, I put some water, and I'd add a little bit of conditioner in it, or as much conditioner as needed to add some slip into the water, and it would create this substance that's water but like conditioner like, and once you spray it on your hair, it would be really slippery. I've done this particularly for mini twists and 3-strand braids that I've done on my hair. I'll show you guys pictures. I've done it for the styles that I've used my own hair to braid, because I would really like the hair to be more manageable, more soft, more slippery, more gentle, because you're doing it really slow, because you don't want to lose any hair in the process. If you do have dry hair, I do recommend you put in some sort of product that will help you. So in my instance, like I said, I just make some conditioner in a spray bottle with water, and then I gently spray it on my hair before I start taking it down. But when I'm taking it down from braids, then I don't normally use anything. But I've come to find some people do, and if that works for you, you do that. How to prevent breakage when taking down your natural hair? Well, the first step, like I mentioned, is you want to be really gentle. 1. 2, you want to use something that doesn't have abrasive ends. That's why I prefer to use a toothpick. Notice how the end is very sharp. So when I go into a hair strand, it's not ripping the hair apart. In fact, it can go exactly where I direct it to go, and it's pretty gentle. Another thing is also, don't rush through, and don't be doing a lot of this, because do you see like where my hair is starting? Do you see how that's putting pressure on my hair strands? Don't do that. Like, I don't even want to show you guys, because I don't want to damage my hair in the process. Be gentle, be slow. See how I'm taking it down? Very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. I'm not like these other girls who rush through their natural hair. You don't want to be like the other girls who rush through their natural hair. You want to be very gentle in the process. Very gentle, guys. See how the braid comes off? Comes right off. how the extension comes up. And once the extension is off, you will notice I have a knot. And this is where you take your conditioner mix and then you spray it on there, and it will loosen up that hair. And then when you're ready to brush your hair, it will be all ready for brushing. And like, when you find yourself tired and not in the mood, just don't do it. You don't need to do it for nobody, you know. You don't want to lose hair that you've grown for months, if not years, just because you were in a rush. So I like to do this, and then I do the brushing out, combing out, slipping portion later. But a lot of people would normally do it now. I just don't prefer to do it now. I like to take it in sections. So if I'm cutting the whole hair in sections. If I'm unbraiding, I unbraid the whole hair in sections. If I'm brushing the whole hair in sections. And I've come to find that's what works for me. That's what works for my patience level. That's what works for my tolerance, pain tolerance, because I do have a very tender head. But if you find yourself someone who can get through it all in one go, what you would do is you would cut a braid, you'd unbraid the braid, you would brush the braid out, and then you would put the hair away. And then you can do that throughout your whole hair. So in simple terms, that's everything you need to know. Most Google for questions about taking down braids. So let me stop talking and get to taking down mine. Guys, it's the next day. So I finished my hair around 2, maybe 1:30 last night. I did take 2 food breaks. I took 1 mental break, but I am finished. And now I'm just gonna comb through my hair, detangle, but I'm also only gonna wash tomorrow. I don't have the capacity anymore. I feel tired to do my hair, but I want to do a little bit today, so I have a little less tomorrow. So yeah, let's detangle my hair. Set the table for you and me to sit down and talk nothing. I know that when the passion daylight say nothing matters, my darling. No deny you be one of a kind. Nobody got me for life. I'm not gonna lie, you they giving me 5. One touch, then one time I come cruising, I might over. Let me take you down the block, promising no one else while we talk. But let me take you down the wall, my angel. One of my favorite parts about now having a YouTube channel is I will forever be able to document my length checks, and we will be able to really grow together and be able to see how far my hair is gonna grow in this journey while intentionally trying to grow it. As a matter of fact, I'm currently in a season where I really want to grow my hair really long. I want to see how long I can get it to. Maybe one day eventually I'll cut it. I always tell myself the second I give birth or I finish having kids, I would want to start over just to indicate a new season of my life. I don't know. There's something incredibly satisfying about cutting your hair and growing it back again. But there's also something incredibly satisfying about growing your hair and just checking the growth that you've managed to keep over the years. So anyway, an essential part of braid takedown is being able to take down your hair in such a way where you don't damage your hair. And I feel for myself personally, many instances where I've lost hair is in the detangling after braids, because when you get individual braids, whether these individual braids are in twists or individual 3-strand braids or whether you have extensions or you just did it with your natural hair, you tend to get this gunk build up. Though this is what I'm showing you here in this frame right now. After brushing it out, that's what it looks like. That's the kind of gunk that was at the base of my braids, and I kept these braids in for about 6 weeks, if I recall correctly. And on average, right, every human being loses 50 to 100 hair strands a day, right? Okay, now let's take 50 to 100. The average between those two numbers is 75, right? Then we take 75 hair strands that you're losing per day, and we multiply it by the 6 weeks, right, that I have kept this hair in, right? 6 weeks in days gives you about 42 days. So we take 75, multiply it by 2, and that gives us 3,150 strands that I was losing while my hair was in braids, right? That is a lot of strands, meaning when you detangle your hair, you shouldn't be afraid of breakage, because breakage is normal. Everybody loses hair each day. The point of taking down your hair carefully is basically to ensure that you're not losing excessive hair. So please, please, please don't be afraid of a little hair loss when you're combing out your hair. Breakage is completely normal when you're taking down your hair. It's basically the cumulative amount of all the hair you've been losing in one go, because this is the first time you're managing and handling your hair. Just make sure it's not too excessive. So if you notice that on average you lose X amount, and you notice suddenly that amount has doubled overnight, then you know, like, it's probably something worth investigating. So after I finished detangling my hair, and you will notice I detangled very gently. That clip was sped up, but still you could see that I was going very gentle, and I really took my time on each individual section. As you were seeing in the back there, I didn't want to rush through the process. Like I'm saying, with natural hair, you really, really have to have patience with yourself, right? You can't be doing your natural hair and expect it to be over within 5 minutes. Otherwise, not only are you going to frustrate yourself, but you're also going to be really upset at the end of the day when you realize how much hair you have lost in the process just because you were being rough. So please, please, please be gentle. I can't emphasize that enough. I feel like if there's one thing you should take away from this video, is that please be gentle with your natural hair. That will 100% eliminate at least 20% of your problems, because being rough with hair when it's in its most vulnerable state can lead you to many, many bad things. Anyway, so for this part, I am gently sectioning my hair into 4 sections, and I'm doing this in preparation of a hair mask. The importance of a hair mask, specifically a clay mask, because that's what I will be doing in this video, are that it will absorb the excess sebum on your scalp, it purifies the scalp, it also detoxifies the hair. It prevents or eliminates dandruff if that's what you're struggling with, depending on the type of hair mask you choose. And it is also used as a pre-treatment in conditioning your hair, or in instances where people are coloring their hair. So many salons would make a clay mask before they color your hair, because of the benefit the clay masks have, because they derive from natural products. So there's many clay masks out there. Specifically for me, I use bentonite clay because, I don't know, I've just always been a fan. And the fact that I can use bentonite clay for both my face and my hair has been a win-win decision. So when I buy it, I just buy it in bulk from my supplier lady. Her company in Namibia, for everyone wondering, is what is her company? Oh my goodness, how can I forget her company? She is hair. She's not hair. Hambelela. I think Hambelela Cosmetics. I'm not too sure what her name is, but for those of you who are in Namibia who are looking for where you can buy from her. But alternatively, I've also seen Discam sells, and that's for Namibia and South Africa. They also do sell bentonite clay, but there's so many other treatments you can get. Specifically, bentonite clay, you just take it, you mix it with a bit of water until you get a nice texture, a texture that you're after. I normally go for a slightly liquidy texture so that it's easy to apply to my hair. And I do it with my hair in the 4 sections because I've just come to find the longer your hair, the easier it is to work with when it is divided into sections. If you want to go and work with your hair in one go, that's fine, because again, trial and error, what works for your hair may not exactly work for mine, which also means that what works for my hair might not work for you. So please, even when you're watching these tutorials of how to unbraid hair in detail or how to wash your hair in detail, please take these types of videos with caution. Note that just because one thing works great for me doesn't mean it will work great for you. So just be patient with yourself as you find your perfect combination of products and processes and routines. For most of us who've been doing our natural hair on our own for a long time, it took us a long time to get comfortable enough to share with others, but also to figure out what our own individual hair likes. And so don't necessarily compare yourself to someone who's been doing their hair for me personally, I've been doing my hair since I was like 10 years old. So that is about 15 years of doing my own hair. That's when I first took an interest of doing my natural hair and preserving it and starting to care for it. Before then, I used to get relaxer quite often. I think I'd get my hair relaxed maybe 2 times a year because, growing up in a black household, I feel like our generation of parents, so like parents who should be around 50 to 60 years old right now, didn't really know how to care for natural hair, and they didn't really have the resources to do it. And only now are we becoming the should I say the chain breakers for natural hair for the rest of our generations, and teaching our kids how to care for their hair and teaching ourselves how to care for our own hair. So here I'm applying the bentonite clay mask, and I am applying it in 4 sections, like I divided their hair in. I just moved to a different room because this room has lighting. Did I just say lighting? Has better lighting than the bathroom which I was in previously. And I work in the toilet. So this is our toilet. I work better in the toilet just because of the lighting in there. Anyway, why am we talking about the toilet? Back to unbraiding your hair. So please, when you're unbraiding your hair, be sure to put in some sort of treatment because your hair has been in jail, okay? And what you're doing now, you're basically giving it its first real nutritious meal after jail, after eating prison food, which is basically the moisturizing oils you've been giving it. So, or the moisturizer you've been using while your hair was in braids. If you had your braids in for really long, you might want to consider doing more than just one treatment, because most of the time when your hair has been in really long, a lot of people also deal with flakiness or dandruff. And so you might also want to do some sort of clarifying hair treatment, some sort of hair treatment that will not cause your hair to break, some sort of treatment that will make your hair, that will revive. You're basically looking for a type of reviving effect from these hair mosses that you're doing when you're coming out of braids. So it's very essential, particularly so if you kept the braids in for long, to do some sort of zhuzhing up of your hair and putting the nutrients back in your scalp. And there are really very many scalp treatments, clay masks, hair masks, deep conditioning masks available on the market. I don't really have one that I would highly recommend. I'm still figuring it out, but I really do like to use a natural treatment because I am working with natural hair and I just feel like it will work better than a sort of artificial treatment. But I am yet to try an artificial treatment that works, or a natural treatment that I would highly recommend. So we're still figuring that part together. And yeah, that's basically it. After washing my hair, I put it in these sections and I call it a day. Yeah.
She like the way I move like a jagaban. Straight up down Alabama. Kiss on your lips and a kiss on your labia too. Vertical lips I mean. I know I make with there for talking skills. I know mean it's you. She wanna know if I'm down, but the symptoms is showing I'm up ahead. Excuse me, mommy. Ooh, darling. No disrespect, I know enter your rover, enter my rollie instead. Like a story.
like that, I am done. I'm tired, but I'm done. Ooh, child.